the credit payment history. Because what? That is what they're using to see how well have you been making payments over the course of time, or however long you've had credit. Do you have good or do you have bad? That is 35% of that score. So if you look at an 850 credit score, 35% is based on your payment history. That is a major factor. And that's the most important factor. The next one, the credit utilization. That shows the lenders how risky you are as a borrower, right? If you have a credit of, let's just say, $10,000 of credit limit, right? And you've used 9,000 of that credit limit, you appear to be extremely risky. So if you then go to another lender to go borrow credit, they may not extend you credit because why? You appear very risky. Now, compared to your friend that has the same credit limit, let's just say $1,000 credit limit, right? And they've only used $200 of that credit limit. If they go to another lender to go borrow more credit, that lender is more liable, it's more amenable to give them a new credit because why? They appear to be a less riskier borrower. So that credit utilization is the next critical component of that, what makes up that credit profile.
And it's important, Doc, to note that one missed payment
Oh
on
man,
your credit history
yeah,
can impact your credit for
significantly.
years,
Oh,
six
even
to
50, 50,
seven
50
years,
points,
right?
easy. Yeah. The three remaining components, right? We're talking about length of credit history. Me, let's just say I had a 5-year history of having credit, whether good or bad, right? But you, out of nowhere, brand new, don't have any history, and we go to borrow money, right? Although my history may not be all that great, I may get approved faster than you having zero history because you appear to be way more risky, right, to the lender than I am. Because at least I've demonstrated certain ability to pay or not to pay on my debts, right? But they have no idea about, right? So you appear more risky. The longer your history, the better, right? And that's why I always advise people, don't just run to cut up your credit cards. Now, if you have a bad history with credit, then that may be a different case. But if you have a decent credit history, right, don't go and cut up your credit cards. You can put them away, hide them somewhere where it's very hard for you to get it. Because why? Those longer history helps you to be able to have better scores because it shows a longer track record, right? As
Absolutely.
compared to new credit, right? And that's 15% of the total credit profile.
Typically, what I encourage is that they freeze them. I tell them to get a
Correct.
Tupperware bowl
Yep.
and fill it up with water and put the credit card in a Tupperware bowl and put it in the freezer. And if
Yeah.
you are going chiseling away at your at your credit card for a pair of shoes, you
That's
may
right.
need to reevaluate some things, right? But in a true
Yeah.
emergency, it'll still be there for you to be able to access it.
Yeah.
And you're absolutely right about payment history and the length of time that
Yeah.
a person has credit, that length of credit, which is
Yeah.
why it's important for us when we have children to help them establish credit as young
Right.
adults.
Yep.
There are ways you can do it, adding your kids as an authorized user on your account, and helping them to build up that length of time. Now, you only want to do this if you have good credit. You don't want to mess your kids' credit up
Correct.
by adding as an authorized user to your jacked up
Correct.
credit. But if you have a great credit history already, this can actually in turn help set them up in the beginning of their life for a great credit history,
Absolutely.
by you being able to help them with that length of credit, that credit utilization, and all of the factors that we've talked about so far.
Yes.
So
Yep.
let's talk about the last two factors. The
Yep.
last
Really
factor
quickly.
is going to be new credit, right?
Yep.
So this is going to be you applying for new things. So those hard inquiries in a short period of time.
Yep.
Now, I've heard that if you're shopping around for something, for instance, an auto loan, and I
Mm-hmm.
know most of us were taught, hey, don't you don't want to apply for too many things at one time.
Mm.
But when you talk about an auto loan, if you're shopping in that time window of, let's say, just a couple of
At
days,
15, they have 15 days for them to count all as one pull. Yeah.
as one, that's right. So they'll
Yeah.
be able to shop around and
Yeah.
say, okay, that won't be all counted as multiple hard inquiries.
Correct.
And hard inquiries do stay on your credit report. I think it's 3 years.
Yeah, about
And
24 to 36. Yeah, 36 months. Yeah.
yeah, 24 to 36 months. And it
But
can,
as time progresses, the impact goes lower and lower.
goes down.
Yeah,
Absolutely. So as they get closer to falling off, the
that's
impact
right.
kind of goes away.
That's
So
right.
hard
Yeah.
inquiries in a short window can actually lower your score. And then the last category is going to be credit mix, which makes up 10% of your credit.
Yeah.
And that's having various different credit aspects. So not
Correct.
just having all credit cards. Maybe you have a car loan, maybe you have student loans, you might have a mortgage, personal loans, but having a mix of different types of credit impacts your score up to 10%.
That credit mix is very, very important. You might have 700 credit score, but if it's all credit cards, you may not necessarily get approved for a mortgage loan, right? But somebody that might have, let's just say, 680, but they have a good mix, they might get approved before you. They have demonstrated that they can handle different types of loans.
And the whole purpose of this episode is to help you all really understand credit and why it's
Yes.
important to use it responsibly.
Mhm.
And, it's unfortunate, but again, many people weren't taught. So what happens is that we can use credit irresponsibly.